Doing a little minor surgery after I got about 40 miles on this weekend, just ripping around the neighborhood and getting it out on some 55 zone 4 lane. It is running absolutely pig rich at highway speeds. My my little cheat code for tuning, wideband oxygen sensor. It's running constantly, and when I was going about 60, 65 miles an hour up on the 4 lane, it was hobbling between high 11s and low 12s. So I'm like, okay, that ain't right. So I know I didn't have to take the whole carb off, but I learned a trick too, because first I took the air horn off and the gasket stuck to it, and it was a complete mess, just gasket material. So that's the bottom of the air horn. That's where the gasket goes. I scraped it all off, and then I learned from a tip on multiple people online, multiple sources: put chapstick on the gasket before you install it. Okay, a lot of people actually referenced this, so I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do that. I also wanted to pull the whole carb because I figured that gasket was stuck too, so I got some gaskets coming, air horn gaskets and carb base gaskets, so be good. I also got a phenolic spacer too because the carb was actually pretty warm. Just making a thing out of it. But I have this tuning kit, this AVS2 tuning kit. And I bought this specifically because I knew I wanted to tune this carb really well. So I just printed up the document for tuning, and give you see it. This is how it comes from the factory. This is lean stage 1. It's where I want it to go for lean in cruise mode. Not necessarily power mode, but I'm going to get the cruise set first. Then I can mess with the power later because that's mostly like accelerator pump adjustments. So, but anyway, lean out the cruise a little bit, and then you can see 1 is stock calibration, and then you go here. 2 tells you to use that main jet from a 95, go down to a 92, and this metering rod. Swap them out. Well, you get a bunch of jets, and you get a bunch of needles, and you get other things too. But you swap them out. So I had to take the air horn off to get at the main jets way down there. While I had the air horn off, I changed the needles, and I also adjusted the float height, which was a little bit off to begin with. It needed it. And then when I get it all back together, I'm going to go for spin and see if that helps the cruise AFRs a little bit. I mean, you want to cruise, if you're in a fuel-injected car, cruise is 14.7 to 1. And you get great gas mileage that way. This thing was running in the freaking 12s, in the low 12s, high 11s at cruise. I probably would have had 12 miles per gallon. Another thing I was messing with too, I never really played with carbs before, and that was part of the shtick for putting this carby on there. But like with a fuel-injected car, you got one big-ass hole and a butterfly in there, and you just open, closed. And you just crack it a little bit, and you get a hell of a lot of air all at once. These 4 barrels aren't like that. They have what's called a progressive linkage in the throttle. Not really sure you can see. I'll show you that. There's the bottom. It's kind of hard to see. Anyway, the bottom opens and closes. Here. Make it a little light down there. Okay. Sort of. All right, here you go. So, watch. These are the primaries. These are the secondaries. And there's this air flapper here that opens and closes based on airflow. But I just want to show you the mechanical aspect of it. These are called mechanical secondaries. And when I crack the throttle for, see the blue through that little, right in there. That's the blue towel it's sitting on. It's just starting to open. But notice, these are the primaries. Nothing is happening to the secondaries at this point. I'm at 45 degrees open on the primaries. Then the secondaries start to open. And then they're progressively connected through this little affair right here, such that they don't do anything until this surface right here touches that, because this will then start to rotate down. This little bar here pulls on the secondaries. Following it out. Watch. So primary, 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 secondary, secondary, secondary. And because of the way the linkage is, you can see there's a different in the, you got your rotational point here, and then the moment arm is this distance versus this one here to up here. It's like half the distance. So if this is turning this, this will turn twice as fast as this. That's the progressive aspect to this. I made it 45%. It used to be like 65, 70% before this thing would start kicking in. What I did was I moved it back and forth, and I watched this linkage, and I said, oh, I can just shorten this rod a little bit and it'll start pulling in the secondaries faster. And it does. So that was just me futzing with it. So now I got to get the throttle up to 45 degrees before the primary or the secondaries kick in, and then it'll really haul ass. I guess I just thought the engine I built would be more snappy. And it's not snappy until the secondaries kick in. Then you're getting all the airflow. I'm at 3/4 throttle at that point, and I'm like, oh, come on. So expectations, I guess. I haven't gone wide open throttle with it yet. I'm sure when everything's open, it'll punch me. But I don't know. I thought it would be a little bit more snatchy, I guess. But driving it around on just the primaries, it's pretty docile. Believe it or not. And even giving it a little gas, it's still kind of docile because I'm only sucking through these little coffee straws right there. I'm going to open up these two bad boys. Come to find out, Holley sells a 1-to-1 bar for their double bumper that does something here so that when that opens, no question. And I've heard it's kind of snatchy at like driving around town and whatnot, but it's a freaking Cobra. Come on. So I'll post an update on the AFRs after the wideband confirms or denies it. As you can see from this little chart, I can go a few more steps leaner. 3, 4, apparently 4 is as lean as I can get, and that's 12% leaner. Almost 12, probably around 8 to 10%. If I have to go any leaner than that, I got something wrong. So to be continued.